Saha has been defeated in a very honorable battle between tattooed men of different ethnicities.
I really felt sorry for the sword.
Central Hospital in the downtown area.
Yeah, that's never getting old.
Yeah.
Smells like a trap.
Yeah, but the
A funny, interesting thing about this little briefing screen, that camera flyover is actually covering the majority of the level geometry that we're going to be going through, which I think is actually a pretty nice touch.
Yeah.
Even though this, I'm going to say, is kind of one of the lesser liked levels for my money.
Kinda looks like Resident Evil 6.
You say that.
There's gonna be some giant bioweapon just coming out of the mist, and I'm gonna be like, why?
Everyone, hold your positions.
Wait until at least the halfway mark.
Oh, god damn it.
So we're back to using our sniper rifle. Though for melee, this is one of the two missions in the game where I decided to start with the Katana, which is the, if you were to play the main campaign, it is the canonical melee weapon that Ivan always has.
Signature weapon, so to speak.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch that we can obviously, like, start with, but I did it just for, like, sake of variety for the LP, although for a couple of reasons, this is actually the only mission in the game in which I did not beat Iconoclast scores. If you remember from how, like, I mentioned that, like, every mission in this game I had, like, basically I had used his score attack run of this from years ago as, like, a reference for beating. But this is the one where I only came up, like, a few thousand points short.
Not good enough, you're gonna have to restart the LP from scratch.
I almost considered redoing this, but the way I was, like, recording all these missions is that I was focusing on each mission in order as they went along. So, and it was like, and like all of these, like, took several tries to get right because they're all segmented, and I wanted to make sure I did not get, like, the point penalty for deaths. And this was, like, one of those problem sections that facilitated quite a couple of resets because of that. Because of, like, both the turret and that we're getting a lot more RPG soldiers just shooting at us.
Yeah, I didn't think there were any graphical effects that were more obnoxious for showing damage than Red Jam. And yet here we are. We found one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we got grayscale glaucoma.
Yeah. Like, if it was going grey, that would be fine, but the fact that 90% of the screen turns black, yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah. But of course, because we have M'Baku, like, we can still survive even at that state, which ties into, like, one last very important score bonus that ties into it and, like, helps solidify this game's kind of, like, encouragement of risky behavior and play and gameplay. You get a 750 point bonus for every time you kill an enemy while you're in that near death state. It's called the survivor bonus.
Yeah, I noticed you getting that quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you can obviously still get that even without M'Baku, but the risk is way too great on that.
You reckon we've shown how evil these guys are yet?
I'm on it.
As his assault rifle clips through his torso.
Not yet. Second mandatory turret section, also pretty short, and another one where, like, you know, kind of like back when we were on the AC-130 with that turret, it's like, just firing regular, like, machine gun bullets in a turret sequence is boring.
Yeah.
It's way better when you can just lob, like, a grenade, or I think as you called it, like a Coke can size, or even like a bottle-sized bullet.
Yeah, around the size of a ketchup bottle was the term I used.
Yeah, it's like a whole lot more satisfying and faster that way. This is actually one bit where relying solely on the auto aim lies to you because it makes the center of the crosshair aim at it without realizing that the grenades have an arc, and you have to aim just slightly up for it to land. But otherwise,
in games.
Yeah, but otherwise, outside of that section, like, yeah, still abuse the hell out of the auto aim. Like, that option is there for a reason, and like, there's no penalty for using it at all in single player.
I think that's the longest you've gone without killing anyone so far in these videos.
just a heavy sprint.
Yeah, come on, people aren't dying yet.
That part was a bit scary because I had an accidental pause as I got hit twice by the mortars, got into gray state, thought I was gonna die and had to restart, but no, the third hit didn't happen.
I feel like Hideo Kojima needs to sue someone for copyright.
For what part?
The frogs from MGS4.
Oh, I mean, I guess like in an acrobatic sense, the Saha unit kind of is like that, but they don't really have like like none of them are female and like technologically like boosted in any way.
Yeah, just that one bit was like the first time you actually start fighting them, where you do their boss fight, and it's in a hotel as well.
Yeah. Frankly, Kojima could learn a thing or two from the pacing that Itagaki's showing with this shit.
Oh, like night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, yes, the gameplay's broken up with cutscenes, but they're generally like 2 minutes at most.
Yeah. And you have that little handy A-skip prompt in the
Yes.
bottom right. Unfortunately, when you play through this for the first time, you actually can't skip the cutscenes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's why you wait for your Pop-Tart to cool down before you eat it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
That running animation is like...
I think he entered that building.
Kind of reminds me of Bullet Witch, which had these enemies which would just start flailing their limbs all around the place.
Oh my god.
Hell of a game, that.
Yeah, it's another Capia joints, if I recall.
To hurt you.
Yep.
Hey.
So here's that mandatory QTE segment I talked about 2 videos ago, and it's the only one. See how fast it went?
Yay!
See, if this was Resident Evil 6, you'd be doing that like 3 dozen times
Whatever
more.
it is, it's not human.
Yeah. Although it kind of reminds me more of Resident Evil 5 now.
Fuck, now I got that like little jingle from Miracle of Sound 7 years ago playing in my head about RE6. When you start to play Resident Evil 6, you hammer the buttons and wiggle the sticks. New hat.
Yay, hat.
Yeah. There's a very funny thing I do with this hat in like a minute, like at least like during this sequence. But I want to use this to quickly talk about something that I was referring to last video about how the shooting tries its absolute best to not lie to you and be as functionally like solid as possible. The way that aiming works when you're in cover is very different from how it works like in any other third-person shooter. Obviously, there's the fact that when we aim, we go into iron sights, which like most games don't even really do. Very few that are third-person actually like have that design decision. Oh, this is the funny thing I was talking about. He just drinks the flask through the helmet. There's actually little holes in the front, so like it totally counts. He's totally sipping it through there, not making a mess. He's a perfect bald man. We all know this.
Just mashing his foot against the perfect sheen of his helmet.
Yeah. But the thing is that, let's say for instance, we were at like not waist-high cover, but like at a wall, and Ivan was not at the edge of the wall before aiming, and then you decide to like aim the crosshair. If this were any other third-person shooter, the camera would still shift away from where you were looking because it needs to move the character to the edge to pop out, because the camera is like very specifically glued to where your character model's position is at all times. Instead, Devil's Third's aiming works in a way that no matter where you are in cover or out of cover, wherever the crosshair is, you hit the aim button, it will always aim, it will literally just zoom the camera there. And I think that is
All right,
significantly
one at a time.
better than how the majority of third-person shooters have done it, because of how just... Especially ones that are like console only, like Gears or Uncharted. It's just, I always hate doing that minute little adjustment whenever like I have to try and like aim that way.
Watch it.
Yeah, I was actually replaying the first Uncharted recently, and
man.
just the fact that you can't pre-aim your weapons before you start going into iron sights was driving me insane.
Yeah, when you're like on cover like that, and like even with like the blind fire, it's really not useful when in that situation.
No, I gave up because I was like, modern games have spoiled us in a way.
And even
That,
then,
like,
the games that have spoiled us don't spoil us with like the particular aiming trick that this game employs.
Yeah.
But again, like most people didn't even care that like it was a useful trick because they were like, lol, bad looking game.
Yeah.
Which admittedly it does, and it's going to look even worse and when we go through this door right here. So this
wow,
game
those
art
guys are
director,
hella
yeah,
lumpy.
oh yeah, these are not good looking zombies.
No.
So this is another good example of how every time you start shooting a gun doesn't mean you have to end the engagement with it. Like, you need to like soften these guys up with a couple shotgun shells and then just go in for a melee finish. Especially this
Oh,
one.
what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I have no real good explanation for what this thing's supposed to be.
It
mean-
looks like Satan's own pet capybara.
I was gonna say like some ungodly cross between a human and a pig, but that works too.
He calls him Mr. Pickles, and he sets him loose in, you know, sort of like war zones just for shits and giggles. And you shot him, you bastard.
Don't worry, he's got more.
R.I.P. Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles 1 did not make it out. But Mr. Pickles 2, you're the real one. I believe in you.
Ah, Mr. Pickles.
And then 2 dies, and he goes, okay, Mr. Pickles 3, I know what I said about about number 2, but he ain't shit. You, though, you're the real deal. It's just a Ninja Gaiden, like, Penny Arcade comic, where it's like each ninja going out the revolving the wall to face Ryu and get killed.
And then as Mr. Pickles number 17 walks out the door, he just presses play on his iPhone, and Aerith's theme from Final Fantasy VII starts playing.
That's the hospital.
So this game, like Ninja Gaiden 2, technically had multiple directors that were like in charge of like different aspects. You know, like obviously, like Itagaki being who he is like both the executive producer and director. The art director for this is, I believe, like the same one as in Ninja Gaiden 2, Katsunori Ehara.
That's surprising, because
you need
this sucks.
Yeah, it's like,
Was he drunk?
like, Ehara, you're a talented guy. You did a really good job on that Samurai Jack game that you guys put out like a month ago, but for fuck's sake, I either like be more inspired in your own art direction and don't listen to Itagaki so much, or like actually work on your own talents, please, for the love of God.
I feel embarrassed for him. This is like sub first gen Xbox 360 levels.
Yeah.
Like, what the Christ is going on here?
Also, yes, I did mention he made a Samurai Jack game that came out this year. It's actually by a lot of the same Ninja Gaiden 2 devs.
I saw it come out, but I was never really a big fan of Samurai Jack. It was getting quite good reviews from what I saw, though.
Yeah, it's I played a good amount of it. It's really really fun. Soleil did a good job. Yeah, that's the name of the studio, which technically actually did the grunt work for Devil's Third.
Split up. We'll check
And
the
they
west.
didn't go under? I'm
Ivy.
amazed.
No, because like the story behind it is that like while this is like build is like by Valhalla Game Studios, Soleil is like a Valhalla subsidiary that like when they started like the intent was for them to be just like one of their development arms that was like not independent or anything and would basically go unnamed. But like after kind of like, you know, this game came out and then the like various issues they had trying to get like the multiplayer to stick as like a free-to-play title on PC, eventually Soleil like came out a couple of years later like with that as like its for real name and started being like an independent entity. And so they still have a lot of like the same high-level key members that worked on this game and Ninja Gaiden 2. Just not Itagaki, because he's been out of the directing game for a few years now. He officially retired to the role of prime advisor, at least at the time that he announced it. But the Samurai Jack game, funny enough, he's listed in the credits, and his title is even better in that. Do you want to take a guess what it is?
Supreme Moon Baron.
No, you got the first word right. It's Supreme Advisor.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just Prime Advisor wasn't good enough. He's like, you needed to find one more level above that.
Like, I knew there was something weird about the fact that the guy always wears sunglasses in every photo, but that's getting dangerously close to Jim Jones territory. I'm just saying, don't accept any drinks from the man.
What the hell happened?
I mean, I don't drink on principle. Like, I don't really have any alcohol tolerance. But it was like, I don't know. If I met Itagaki and he had a drink and was getting plastered, I'd hang out. I bet the stories he tell would
Should
be
be emergency
wild.
generators.
I imagine his stories would be kind of similar to the stories that Lemmy from Motorhead would tell. He'd be like, I was drinking with Hendrix. It's like,
Oh man.
Jimi Hendrix? No, Grady Hendrix. He worked on Gears of War. Nice guy. I don't know if there is a Grady Hendrix or if he worked on Gears of War, but it just seemed to, fit.
I mean, he definitely like talk about how much he liked all the guys at Microsoft, considering how hard he pushed for the Xbox when that original console came out.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that like the Xbox's true worth fell apart like the moment Ninja Gaiden 2 came out and Itagaki left Team Ninja, because that was the same year that later afterwards Avatars came out, and then the Kinect bullshit started.
Well, I mean, I think he was one of like 17 people in Japan who actually liked the Xbox. So, it's sort of like the old legend about if the Ravens ever leave the Tower of London, the country's in ruins. If Itagaki ever leaves the Xbox, then, every copy of Dead or Alive is going to explode or spontaneously combust.
Yeah. Well, I think it also says a lot that like only the two Ninja Gaiden games he made are on Xbox One backwards compatibility. Just because there was obviously the reputation and like critical reception behind the first one, and the second one was received well enough, even if it wasn't like to the same level. But there's no DOA game on there, like not the extreme volleyball games, but like not even the fighting games, not even the good ones he made.
I mean, I don't pay much attention to the fighting game community, but from the people I know who do, and someone will probably correct me, the DOA games are kind of seen as a joke almost. Like, they put them in for shits and giggles, and then once they finish with that, they're like, okay, now let's get on to the real tournament.
I mean, I feel like that's more the case in like an EVO situation or anything where like a lot of the old guard are the kind of people that are like, Capcom is the only one that matters.
And to a lesser extent, Mortal Kombat.
I feel like even them, like, especially for most Mortal Kombat games, it would be seen more as a joke by them, just for the jokes about NetherRealm's animation skills being so trash.
Animation skills, sound effects, and character designs, because the characters barely look the same from one game to the other.
Yeah, I suppose. So yeah, we kind of like got on that tangent while fighting through these awful RE6 rejects. There is one thing I kind of want to highlight that is like a couple of things for why I don't like this level as much. You might have noticed that by the time we got inside this hospital, there have been no ammo pickups. It's like there's not a single regular human soldier to fight in this, and that like limits you on like, especially when you have just the shotgun and sniper rifle, you're very limited ammunition for softening up these guys. And the other thing is that
the pace seems to have dropped dramatically compared to previous stages.
Yeah, but the other thing is that that fire axe you see on my back is, I'd say, like the prime suspect for why my score did not beat Iconoclasts on this level. Because, as we all know, hand-to-hand kills and finishers, like, they are worth more points. Like, they're worth 100 more by default, but the M'Baku bonus doubles that. And, like, obviously, like, even though the hands are, like, really good for that, they are not the strongest. So having a melee weapon on hand is nice, but I just get, like, one too many melee fire axe kills with it, and that, like, tanks my chances of beating the score. A secondary reason I would also say is maybe, like, the opening bit with, like, that bridge with all the soldiers coming across, followed by the RPG soldiers. But this, I think, was, like, the bigger culprit. This boss fight's also not that great either. The reason,
Yeah.
and it
seems like a masturbation joke just waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, what was the name of that enemy in Left 4 Dead 2 that had like the grotesquely huge right arm? Because I feel like it's, yeah, Charger. I feel like it's that. And similarly enough, I also made the masturbation joke about that enemy type back when it came out.
I think everyone did.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of some of the enemies from House of the Dead Overkill.
Yeah, he's got that really, like, grimy look to it in the way
Yeah,
that not even the mainline bosses have that look.
Yeah, just that sort of, yes, this is a walking mass of tumors, but he's also covered in dirt. So, you know, we're covering all the gross out potential there.
Yeah. The worst part about this fight, though, and it's part of why I spend so much time hanging back, dodging, and waiting for his attacks, one of his moves is a grab that resulted in instant death. And no, you cannot get out of it with M'Baku. Like, insta-kills are like the one exception to the M'Baku rule of you are invulnerable and cannot die.
Yeah, never ceases to be bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
and the bullshit part about it actually is that the wind-up on that grab is super short because he uses his non-gross arm.
Yeah. Like, have instant kills, but, you know, give the player an opportunity to escape them and, at the very least, telegraph them decently.
Yeah, like, the Sod bosses, Saha specifically, actually had one, but we never saw it because, like, it is super, like, easily telegraphed. Because he always comes after he does a specific grab that, like, puts you in, like, a very weakened state. But, yeah, and, like, and that's the thing about it. Like, that's another thing, funny enough, that you can tell that this was by the Ninja Gaiden 2 guys, is that Ninja Gaiden 2 actually, like, they did change up enemy grabs in a way where there was, like, a wind-up on them, but they were still super, like, quick. Whereas, you know, if you play Ninja Gaiden 1, those were basically like fighting game throws. Like they practically pressed both light buttons at the same time and then instantly got it on you if you were in range.
I'm in. These look like Soviet government reports. To the bioreparat.
Search for transgenic medicines.
Got it. Cancer formation in the stem
there
cells
is one final thing that I think will be a relief once we're like done with this cutscene. This level is actually the only one in which these mutant freaks are the emphasis.
Oh,
we don't. We go back to fighting regular soldiers for the rest.
Yeah, I mean, this came out probably around about the end of the whole weird zombie craze.
On the downturn of it, I would say, yeah.
So they'd already been long played out by the time this game came out.
Yeah, just with these sub RE6 freaks, or actually, I don't even know if I can really say that, just because because RE6, like, even with its graphical qualities, it still looks better. But I feel conflicted between either this, like, what do you think is worse, Mr. Pickles or the titty fart monster?
Titty fart monster by several thousand miles. I mean, we've got a whole parade of Mr. Pickles here. If we never see Titty Fart Monster ever again, I will be very disappointed.
Yeah. Also, the Titty Fart Monster laughs. Like, there's like a non-zero number of RE6 enemies where the noise they make is just them laughing, and I have like no idea who thought that was a good idea. Oh wait, no one.
Probably
everyone thought that was a good idea, and it wasn't.
Was there any crossover in the staff between this and Silent Hill 4? Because I imagine the same person who signed off on that signed off on the Burpin' Nurses.
Oh, Jesus.
There's a conspiracy theory for you.
Better than a game theory.